Name on the front. Ow, babe. Name on the front. Let's podcast, baby. Name on the front. Ooh, name on the front.
What was that?
I don't know. Let's love, baby.
Okay.
Name on the front. I just thought it's an intimate little tape. We took the leaf out of the table. It's a little more intimate.
We finally got rid of Mike.
Yeah, we're going raw. No
Yeah.
condom. No protection. This is a unfiltered podcast.
We got rid of our condom, Mike.
Yeah, this is gonna be great. This is gonna be a lot of fun. Not a lot of new. We got mostly NFL today. I mean, we were saying that we were like, and then we were like, oh no, but there's playoff baseball. Then there's like
the NBA title could be handed out
draft.
tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think so. Most dangerous lead in the bubble is 3-1.
That's true.
So
it's true.
I don't think that it's going to be handed out tonight. I think the Heat have a great chance to win tonight and push it to a Game 6, which I'm hoping for.
Yeah, I am too. I don't want basketball to be over. You know what I mean?
Also like last game. That last game was not a blowout by any means.
No,
that could have gone either way until the very end. The very end, it just kind of got out of hand. But
I bet on Lakers -7.5.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you saw. They were up 8.
Yeah, I saw the dagger 3.
That was
my roommate. We
most
had
crushing 3 ever.
We sallied hard on that. My roommate had Heat +6.5 or -6.5. I don't know how gambling works.
+6.5.
+6.5. Yeah. I'm not great with gambling because I haven't done it a lot.
That would have been a lot of fun being on the other.
Once
end
I get my
but...
OSAP, I'm getting into it. I'm getting into it for the fans.
Yeah. Take that, Doug.
I actually think that'll be a fun thing for the podcast. You guys teaching me how to gamble.
Yeah, we could do that.
I actually think that would be fun. Just like a complete rookie learning the ropes.
One thing we need to discuss this week is
that might have been the worst intro song I've ever done. Yeah, let's just say
I like it.
No, don't fucking coddle me.
It's probably the least known.
Yeah. It was Let's Get It On.
Okay.
Oh, babe. Let's get it on.
One thing we need to talk about.
That was also a brutal voice crack on that fucking last note. Oof.
How many views do we hit before Mike isn't allowed back on the podcast?
If we hit over 100 views on this podcast, Mike has to we get a mute button on his mic.
Like around the horn?
Yeah, we get to mute him. If we can single-handedly get over 100 views on this podcast.
So yeah, watch this video, share it. If you don't like Mike,
we want to censor him.
You have the power to.
We want to censor this guy.
To cut off his mic. All right, do you want to get into the NHL right now?
NHL first?
Yeah.
Okay, so NHL first. Anybody who has been following along with the NHL knows that the NHL Draft just happened last night. Congratulations to the New York Rangers for landing a franchise winger. You don't often say that, but he actually is one. In the mold of like a Patty Kane. Who would you call a franchise winger? Ovechkin,
yeah.
Patty Kane.
Yeah. That's probably close to it when you think about it.
Really,
right?
yeah. Kucherov, but he wasn't at the point of the draft. He wasn't. Right.
Mitch Marner probably is. I don't know because
I don't think so.
When you look at the things that he does too, the fact that he kills penalties and stuff like that too, I think that helps.
Franchise to me is
on this team,
they're clearly your best player. They are the focal point of your offense every night. To me, that's Patty Kane.
Pasternak.
Yeah.
Pasternak and Marchand are both.
Yeah, I would say Pasternak more than Marchand.
Jamie Benn.
No.
At one point, he probably was.
He's a leader.
Yeah.
He's a leader. But the idea of a franchise winger, nobody I think I might be the first person who's ever said it. So,
yeah, we're running pretty low now on Tarasenko.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. A lot of Russians.
Yeah.
If you can if you see that. But three of the 5 we named were Russians. Kucherov, Tarasenko, and Ovechkin.
Yeah.
There has to be somebody we're missing.
Speaking of Russian wingers,
Rodion Amirov.
What's the song of the gods?
His name, and this is gonna make Leafs fans feel a lot better about the pick. I'm sorry for Mike because this is his scoop. He was the one that came up with this.
Show up to the pod.
And it was a great scoop. He tweeted it out. Anybody at Michael Ranger? I don't know if that's his tag or not, but you can find him. Apparently, Rodion in Russian means Song of the Hero, which is a sweet handle, and it's a sweet, sweet name for our sweet, sweet first-round prince, Rodion Amirov. I was, as I said on the last podcast, I wasn't as prepared for this draft as I normally am because of the NFL starting at the exact same time.
Obviously, right?
The NHL bubble, the NBA bubble, MLB 60-game condensed season plus playoffs. Then I believe the World Darts Championship is going on. There's a lot of things going on that I've had to focus my attention on, so I haven't been able to do a lot of deep dives into these players. I had heard of Rodion Amirov or Amirov, whatever they say it. I'd heard of him, but he really wasn't on like my radar. You know what I mean?
Same. I hadn't
and
really
after
heard
those
of him, but...
after those first 12 picks, like just like Sam Cosentino, first of all, crazy mustache.
Yeah, he looks like
rocks.
Kenny Powers.
Yeah, crazy mustache that he rocks, but it's awesome.
I
love it. I really like it.
He's really good too.
He is very good.
Yeah,
he is very good.
He's kind of with Bob McKenzie retiring now. He's kind of
like
moving into that role.
Well, he's like the junior. Well,
exactly.
He's like the junior hockey insider almost.
Yeah.
Like there's really not like he's the Craig Button of Sportsnet now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
More so than like.
Yeah,
I'd say Bob McKenzie is an insider.
Yeah, but
he's more the Elliot Friedman.
He was really into the drafts, and he had his rankings and everything. And I think Sam Cosentino's kind of there. They have like they're doing an analytics thing with the way they're building. They have like their Bob McKenzie is split up between like 3 different guys.
Yeah, Elliot, Sam, and
Chris Johnston.
Yeah,
would be there.
Yeah, Chris Johnston.
Yeah,
exactly.
But yeah, a lot of Leafs Nation was disappointed because Braden Schneider was obviously the guy that was getting a lot of play.
See, that's the thing about that is like, I kind of knew I wanted Braden Schneider. I said it on the last podcast, but that comment by Dubas about 12 hours before the draft, where he said, we are not going to reach on somebody based on position.
Right. Which makes sense.
I know. It makes sense, and it's exactly how he's always drafted. Mm-hmm. To me, that immediately said, okay, so Braden Schneider's out.
Yeah.
Because Braden Schneider he was that safe defenseman that kind of fit the mold. He was going to be taken at that point because we needed a defenseman. And when he said that, I was immediately like, okay, so he's picking a forward.
Yeah.
Like immediately I was like, okay, so he's probably picking a forward. And then we found out after the draft that there really was no discussion whether it was going to be anyone else but Rodion.
He's obviously going to say that though.
No, not necessarily. A lot of people are like, we were picking between a few guys and we came to this.
I guess.
Like, in the Marner draft pick, it got out that they were 3 different guys they were picking between.
Mm-hmm. But like they won't. What I'm saying is they're not going to come out publicly usually and say that
at the 15th pick.
The
15th pick, they would say like, we had a few guys in mind, but this was the guy at the top, and I stood behind him and I really wanted him. But what he really did say was, he said there was no discussion whether or not we were going to pick him. The only discussion was whether these trades went through, because for anybody who was watching the draft, we almost had to call a timeout.
Which I've never seen in the NHL.
Yeah, like we almost had to call a timeout because we were working the phones, and then
it was almost
then when they went to Mitch and Morgan, which we'll talk about in a second, they like Mitch was kind of like looking at somebody off the screen, like almost like, who am I picking?
I think he
like, what am I doing?
It's almost like they did, like the Leafs didn't realize they had to they missed a step. They didn't realize they had to send their pick in. They thought they just went to the video and they made their pick. That's the way it came off to me, at least.
Yeah.
Because they had the jersey there. They were clearly picking this guy.
Yeah.
And it was like Dubas forgot to text Gary Bettman that they're picking Amirov.
I like how Morgan Riley looked like just like a bouncer at a club back there.
Yeah.
Or just like somebody's significant other that doesn't want to be at the party, just standing off to the side, like I don't know anyone here.
The somehow to me, I don't know. Maybe I'm
wondering who the trades were with.
Yeah.
I
don't know
what the trades were.
Yeah.
Apparently there were trades.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently there were people calling up and trying to get the pick.
It was probably just moving up and back, right?
100%.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering who it was.
You look at
because I'm interested in that kind of thing.
The Rangers jumped up with Calgary.
right after,
like at 19 to take Schneider.
You'd have to think that
was probably one.
Yeah, because we were rumored to take Schneider, so if they really wanted him, they might have moved up with us, and then
New Jersey jumped up too and took Dawson Mercer at 18. So you got to think those are probably two of the teams.
Those are a couple of the teams that probably were inquiring.
Yeah, so I think the thing with Amirov too is he's not actually that small. Like he's 6'1".
He's slight.
Yeah, he
needs to build weight. That's like I think that everybody who's 18 builds weight.
He just turned 19. And he's like,
when I was 18, I was 165 pounds, and look at me now.
We'll go back.
I'm a ripe 218.
Look at pictures of like Morgan Riley when he first came into the league and what he is now. He's built like I don't even know what the right word is.
If they need help with Rodion to gain weight, I'm there.
Send him here.
I'm there for them.
Send him to our.
I can help.
We got a couple. There's some deals at Pizza Hut that'll help him put on weight if he wants that.
Yeah, the Panorma's Pizza special.
His agent said he's closer. 6'1", 185.
You get 10. You get 10 wings. You get a medium pizza, 2 toppings. You get cheese bread, and you get dips.
Pizza
and
Hut.
Then you can either do the either do the cookie, the
Cineparts,
or the Cineparts. Yeah. Well, like that's your pick, Rodion. Which one do you want to eat?
Pizza Hut needs to sponsor the podcast now after all that free advertising.
Yeah. So it's the greasiest pizza on earth, and it's the easiest way to gain weight going into a Leafs season.
Yeah,
that's for Rodion. That's just a little advice from me on how to gain weight because that's how I did it.
Another thing that kind of sewered him a little bit with the reaction of the fan base is when they showed his stats on the draft board. They had his stats from last year.
It's so unfair. People just don't understand how like rare it is for an 18-year-old to be in the KHL.
Well, so they're showing his stats from last year. Yeah. 21 games played, 2 assists, no goals.
Yeah.
But if you look at his stats this year, he's played 10 games. He's got 3 goals, 5 points. Mm-hmm. So it's like, is it rare? It's obviously rare for an 18-year-old to play in the second best league in the world, and B, he is putting up points this year. They just showed the wrong stat line.
5 points in 10 games.
Last time I looked, he had 5 points in 10 games. They might have played since then.
And another thing, I saw a tweet which like pretty much perfectly encapsulated like the draft and like just like the narrative behind these players. It's just like what was it? The guy was like describing a pick like after the pick's been made, and he was just like, guy plays in Russia, has never had an assist, player comparable of Evgeny Malkin.
Right.
Like projected 3rd round. Like just so many things that just like cross each other. It's like, wait, comparable Evgeny Malkin projected in the 3rd round. Never had how are these things adding up? You know what I mean? Like, so it's really hard unless you like pay attention all the time to these kinds of things, which we don't because we're an all-encompassing sports podcast. We cover all sports, so we can't really just zone in on like, okay, like let's watch fucking like UFA. I've never watched an UFA game.
No,
Sorry.
me neither.
I've never watched a KHL game.
The only reason I've heard of UFA is because the World Juniors were there that one year.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I know that it's a place.
Yeah.
The other thing too is it's like fans are freaking out. I heard like Jeff O'Neill said this on Overdrive yesterday. It's like, well, I don't want this guy that I've never seen play before. I want this other guy that I haven't seen play before. And it's like, you know what I mean? It's like,
why the hell did we not pick the guy on the radio told us that we should pick like that I heard about a week ago? Like,
and the other thing,
these guys know better than us.
And
okay, like
the Leafs clearly value skill, and it seems like they have like a bit of a.
And if you want to complain about Dubas, it's not his drafting. Okay,
no,
he's a good drafter.
Yeah.
All right. Is he good at at getting contracts done at a reasonable price?
Probably
That's
not.
up for discussion. But his drafting is. I've never complained about his draft.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a very good talent evaluator.
Mm-hmm. And they've kind of like it seems like their niche is finding undervalued guys because they're small. You know what I mean? If you look at the way they've drafted in the past, the only flaw I think in that system is you can have as much skill as you want, and clearly their plan is to try and trade or sign toughness. But I think these guys, they're not usually getting much bigger, and they're still going to be undervalued when you try and trade them. You know what I mean? That's a bit of a flaw to me that they're still always going to be undervalued because they're small. But I think you're better off trying to draft. It's harder to find skill than it is to find toughness.
Nikita Kucherov, when he got drafted, weighed 166 pounds.
That's another thing too.
And that's his player. That's Amarov's player comparable.
I saw Panarin on Sportsnet too. Those are,
I saw
if
Kucherov.
you're gonna pick those two, Panarin's another franchise
Very
winger.
good.
Yeah.
Is he? You think so?
He's close if he's not that.
So they have two franchise.
Yeah, I guess.
Wingers.
Yeah.
Two franchise left wingers now on the New York Rangers, and another Russian.
That's another thing with this market too. You saw Dubas's.
Dig in, Luke.
We got
dig in.
Listen, everyone, check out the LA podcast. We dive into Q, okay?
Well,
all right.
we're gonna bill you for that.
Don't leave.
That's enough.
Yeah.
That's just the crazy homeless guy we took in.
I lost my.
We let him sleep. We let him sleep in the studio.
What was that? What were we talking about there?
We were talking about the draft and
franchise wingers.
Wingers.
Another thing with this market too. Dubas in his post first round press conference. So I think it was Terry Cochon from the Toronto Sun asked him if he sees any similarities between this guy and Kucherov, which is just like the most Toronto. You pick a guy 15th overall. Do you think this guy could be the best left winger in the NHL? Like, it's just.
Oh yeah, no, and that's a Toronto Sun.
Oh yeah, and you can see he Dubas basically that thought was going through his head, but he answered the question obviously the way.
Yeah, you gotta be
diplomatically,
you gotta placate the media as much as you can.
It's just
placate
this market's
us.
Nuts.
Placate us. I also had a point that I wanted to say before he
I'll just
started lurking over my shoulder.
One more thing that Trump and Hillary in the debate from 2016. Remember when Trump was just hovering behind Hillary?
Oh yeah,
in that one debate.
Yeah.
That's what.
Yeah.
The one thing that Dubas said too, he's like, it's kind of like to think like he backed himself into a corner when he said we're gonna get tougher and get harder to play against because you do then have to. You have to do that.
But
you don't do that through the draft, which is what he said. He's
exactly.
like, it's unfair to expect an 18-year-old to come in here and be our tough guy and add team toughness.
Yeah, I was saying throughout the whole draft, I was like, I'm gonna reserve judgment until Friday.
Absolutely.
Until Friday. Friday, what are your thoughts on Wayne Simmons? I think we've covered. You know what? We'll get to Wayne Simmons actually in a second. Let's cover the rest of the draft. It's a pretty I feel like every draft Dubas has a plan going in and he sticks to the plan.
Yeah.
So the 1 year he was picking a bunch of overagers.
That it seems like they have
this year his plan was we are gonna pick European players because their leagues are still playing.
Mm-hmm.
Their leagues are playing. That's a good point. That was the theme is from what I've found is that we were gonna pick high skill, that's always the plan. He always picks high skill, high risk, high reward players, but this year it was who is going to be continuing to play high level hockey.
Because I think the only
the Finnish league, Liga's playing, KHL's playing, the Swedish Elite League's playing. I think we picked Villeneuve in the fifth round. He's playing in the Q.
They did.
We picked Joe Miller, who's a high school kid, right? High school. He's a senior in high school this year.
That's the guy in the. I think they picked a college kid too. I think, which is happening.
What's his
name?
Hold
on, I'll find it.
Was that our 7th round pick that we traded with Boston for?
That was Joel Miller, I think.
No, that was not Joe Miller. No, Joe Miller went in the 6th.
Or maybe there was one of the Finnish kids. There's somebody who's playing U.S.
Axel
college
Rindell.
Hockey.
It's Axel Rindell.
He's playing college hockey?
Yeah, I think he's playing for Connecticut. I think I remember that.
Somebody
just off the top of my head.
No, it's John Fuxo, who's a defenseman.
Fusco.
Yeah, and they picked Fusco. They picked in the 7th round.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you look at all the guys they've picked. They got a kid from the USHL too. So it's all kids that are playing right now, with the exception of Villeneuve.
Yeah. So that's every year there seems to be a theme. The Marner draft year, it was we're gonna pick small, skilled wingers, puck possession.
Worked for the most part, right?
Yeah, and that's probably our best draft that Dubas has had in terms of producing NHL talent. Mm-hmm. We had Timoshov's played NHL games, Marner's played NHL games, Dermott's played NHL games. Then they say if you get 3 players to play in the NHL, that's officially a good draft.
Yep.
So then the 1 year we were picking the overage players.
That one didn't really work out.
That one did not work out. That was the year we picked a bunch of I think
Korshkov.
Yeah, Jeff Villette, who's a really good Leafs writer. he's very analytical and he's got a lot of opinions. So I agree with him sometimes. I don't agree with him other times. But he posted like this like 6 of the picks from that draft, and they were all over like 6'1". And he was like, "Remember this draft? Like height isn't everything. Height isn't everything. Let's relax. Calm the Twitter mob down a little bit. Like we still need to see who these kids are." And also just remember, these are kids. Like these are kids. Stop roasting people. Like they just got their dreams. Like don't damper the moment by like shitting all over the picks.
It's kids that 99% of the population has never seen play before, right?
Look, so if we wanna I know we shouldn't really compare, but if we want to really compare, like just look at the team that eliminated us and who they drafted. They drafted a guy named Chinakov, who like they didn't even have highlights for him. Like they literally like.
And we were just talking about how good Sam Cosentino is. He's like, I don't really know who this guy is.
Yeah, like they were trying to they were like scrambling. Yeah, they were like, we don't know what to say here.
It was like almost a Bruno Caboclo kind of moment, right?
Yeah, like we were like, this guy, he's from Russia by his name.
I think he's a Russian winger. Is going to be my guess.
I think I made a pretty good joke.
Yeah.
To you.
Do you want to take that on the podcast?
Should I say it?
It's up to you, man.
I like the joke.
Yeah.
I think it's not. I think it's just risky to. In the middle of
we'll keep that one off air.
In the middle of COVID, I think it's just risky to pick a guy named Chinakov.
Yeah.
I think that's just a risky move by Columbus for the PR.
Were you a little bit surprised with the lack of trades on draft day? Maybe this is a narrative every year.
Day 2, there was a ton.
But I guess there was some players being moved. Not like there was Bonino got moved.
I think the short offseason affects it because I think a lot of times draft trades have been talked about for at least a month beforehand and kind of worked out the details, where this time they had 2 weeks maybe, right?
If that, for some teams, right? Like,
so like NHL GMs are not going to get hasty just because it's draft night and be like, we have to make moves. This is when people make moves. It's like, this is an unprecedented year. They didn't have the offseason to make those deals work before they come in.
Everyone's remote too, right? You're not on the draft floor.
Yeah, you
saw that in the NFL too. I think there was a lack of movement in that draft because everybody's remote, and you don't want to take the risk of a technical glitch or something.
And anybody who's ever played fantasy football, if you get in a room with your buddies and start talking trades, you're much more likely to make a trade happen in person than over text. Mm-hmm. It's just there's more intimate. It's like this podcast. It's more intimate today. You know? Yeah,
there's something. Yeah. Something is making this more intimate. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, no leaf in the table. That's what it is. But yeah, the trades, I 100% think it's the offseason, though. I think it's just the shorter offseason. They didn't have time to work it out. And I think we're going to be seeing more and more.
There's so much uncertainty,
We're going to be seeing more and more trades happen within the next week because I think everybody knows kind of where they are now more so after the draft than before.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to talk about Trebek at all? That was kind of cool.
I loved that.
Having him announce the 3rd pick.
Yeah, my buddy didn't like that.
Why? What was his reasoning?
I don't know. He doesn't have a heart.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
Doesn't have a soul.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, that was amazing.
That's a hard thing to hate.
Yeah.
Like, dislike.
His biggest problem is he's always, like, disliked how hokey the NHL is.
That I will agree with him with. Like, the thing that drives me nuts the most about the NHL draft is when everybody gets up there and they're like, I just want to thank Gary Bettman for putting this on.
Oh, yeah.
If you
make the pick,
if you say anything other than announcing the pick, you should get fined. Mm-hmm. That should, just speed it along.
I also don't like the brown nosing of like congratulations to the Tampa Bay Lightning on their championship
and the city that's hosting the draft.
It's like, do you really think that the Tampa Bay Lightning are sitting there and just like, oh, like now he's in my good books now that he congratulated me on the draft stage? Like it's
Jarmo Kekalainen thanked me.
It's just unneeded.
Yeah. And
what was the Buffalo GM? Is it Murray?
Craig Adams?
No, the guy who would go up and just be like,
oh, yeah,
and just be like Casey Middlestad, and then just like walk away.
Tim Murray, I think is his name.
Yeah, I think so.
Like that's the other thing.
I loved him, and he was like almost a meme at that point. He's just like, how short is he going to be this time?
The other thing too that I think the other leagues do better is they just have the commissioner make the pick. They
I don't
it's
mind.
It's cool, but it takes forever.
I don't mind the way the NHL.
Yeah,
I think it's a fun way to differentiate it.
Yeah, it just makes it drag on for me.
Yeah,
though.
But to be fair, the NFL is more of a spectacle.
Yep.
Like with how many fans they have there. Mm-hmm. They have the waiting room in the back where like Like, it's just a completely different setup.
It is.
And, like, in the NFL, I think since there's so many different positions and so many more people on their draft teams, like, they have them in their own war rooms anyways.
Yeah.
Like, they're not on site ever. Even like when it's
they're in the stadium.
Yeah. Like, they're never on site. Where, like, the NHL GMs always are on site. They're on the draft floor. So it's a completely different thing.
It is. Yeah, you're right. Do you want to get into free agency now?
Yeah, sure. Let's get into free agency. We kind of spoke on it earlier about, like, I would like a Wayne Simmons signing.
He makes sense as long as the money's right. Obviously, that goes.
The money's not going to be crazy.
No, I don't think it is either.
Yeah,
but
like, it's not going to be groundbreaking. Like, it's not going to affect our cap.
The rumor is they offered Clifford 3 years, $1 million per. Which would you take that for Wayne Simmons? I'd prefer it if you could.
How old is he?
He's 30. I want to say he's 32.
Yeah, I would.
I think you just got to. I would like if they could get that under the $900,000, like the threshold to bury it.
Yeah.
And maybe just you front load it. You give him a bunch of bonuses.
Yeah, I would. I'd probably do it. And another guy that has kind of floated around. I mean, I know you floated the name in our group chat, Kyle Turris.
That to me, I love that. Like, if you can find a way to maybe you can move on from Kerfoot and then get Kyle Turris on a cheap deal, because I don't think he's gonna be making the money he's getting from Nashville, and whatever he makes, I think just offsets. So he's not gonna make any more money than.
And we're losing Clifford, so we need to get a new Kyle in the dressing room.
We got to hit the quota of Kyles.
Yeah, we got to get a new Kyle.
And he's a talented player. I think he had like 31 points in 60 games last year. So that's your third line center. He's got veteran guy. He's got experience.
And everybody knows I'm not too sold on Kerfoot.
No, I don't think anybody's super.
I've gone on that rant on this podcast before. I think he just doesn't move the needle. It's not like I hate Kerfoot. It's more just like a meh. All right, Kerfoot. Meh. All right. Okay.
The thing with them too is, or with Kerfoot, is they need him to be a center, but he's way better as a winger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like he's kind of screwed that way, where they need him to be something that he's not, and he's better being a winger. He's better doing something that they have way too much of.
Yeah.
Especially when you look at, you got Nick Robertson coming in this year too.
And so there's then we get to the defenseman.
Yeah.
And that's where
I've got a name I want to throw out.
That's where it gets a little bit messy. The whole Pietrangelo thing, I still don't really understand how they're going to make that work.
Well, I think one thing is I just threw out there would help if you move Kerfoot and then maybe replace him with Kyle Turris. There's over about.
That would be $2.5 million.
Yeah, $2.5 million.
Because you'd have to pay him at least $1 million.
Yeah. So that's $2.5 million added to your cap.
And
then
the thing about Kyle Turris too is, since he was bought out, he's still making.
Yeah, he's still making the $6 million.
Yeah, he's still making the $6 million. So you could pay a minimum probably, if he's just willing.
So he just kind of has his pick.
Yeah.
I could see him going to Vancouver too. He's from out there. Like they're kind of in a cap crunch.
And and Vancouver hates the Leafs.
Yeah.
So he probably hates the Leafs. I mean, I'm putting words in his mouth, but that's just the facts. The team that the Leafs really like deal with the least in Canada seems to have like the most hate for us.
Yeah, it's weird, man.
We never when do we ever play them?
They play
it's like city envy. That's all it is.
Yeah.
That's really what it is.
They play them once a year, and I think the reason they hate them so much is because the game's at 4:00 out there.
I think they hate us so much is because they have an absolutely beautiful city, and Toronto gets all the attention.
Yeah,
I think that's really it. And
that goes beyond sports for sure.
Definitely, half my family's from out there, and like every time I bring up Toronto, they're just like, "Oh, the center of the universe." It's just like, okay, like I've heard that joke before. Like, get original.
So any guys that you have your eye on as players who could be moved out here, sign with the Leafs?
Honestly, I kind of wanted DeMello, but he just got signed.
What about
is Jason Demers? Is he up for? Is he a free agent?
I don't think so, but
I feel like I heard his name being thrown around before, but again, I wish I had a laptop.
No, he's not.
So I wish I had a laptop. That's another update from last episode.
Oh yeah.
We've lost him. He's dead. He's not coming back.
The laptop,
my
not
laptop. My laptop. Yeah, he's gone. So, R.I.P. Rest in peace, my sweet prince. I had many good years with him. I've had a couple scares over the years. Ended up getting him fixed, going to the hospital, which is Staples, and he got a hard drive transplant twice, and this time we just couldn't save him. So, R.I.P. My sweet prince. Back to free agency.
Another defenseman too that I think kind of might even be not a better fit than Pietrangelo, because obviously he's the best player out there, but a guy who maybe could bring that element of toughness is Travis Hamanek.
I actually love Hamanek.
That's a guy that I think you could find a way to fit in, who I think I would love to have. And then if you go smaller right-handed shot, or not smaller, but lower profile right-handed shot defenseman, Radko Gudas is out there as just a guy you can throw on your third pair, kind of the Roman Polak.
Yeah, a guy that can get a lot of penalties.
Another guy is maybe the return of Luke Shen, Stanley Cup champion Luke Shen to the Leafs.
No.
Just as like a seventh defenseman.
No.
I wouldn't mind.
Shut your mouth.
I could break my jersey out. Just someone like that.
Yeah, that's
I don't know.
Personal thing for you.
It is.
Yeah, shut your mouth. Shut your mouth.
Yeah, I mean, like Travis Hamanek, if you put like him and Riley would be Chris Tanev's another guy.
That's the number one. Yeah, Chris Tanev is just the name that always comes up.
And then when they tried to trade for or when they made the trade for Tyson Barrie last year, apparently they were trying to trade for TJ Brody. That was like and then Kadri said no to Calgary. So maybe he's a free agent.
Speaking of Colorado, man, like Joe Sakic might be the best GM in the league.
That was, yeah.
His draft was awesome.
Was it? I didn't really pay attention to their draft, but
he grabbed Jean-Luc Foudy in the third round. I think.
Is he related to Liam Foudy?
He is. This is his younger brother.
There you go.
And he's very good as well. He just had an off year in junior, and that's why his draft stock fell. But he has that like same kind of talent as his older brother. Apparently, this is what my uncle taught him and like coached him in high school hockey, both of them. And he was saying like they both have like equal talent. Liam is a better skater, but like overall like he really liked Jean-Luc's talent, but like Jean-Luc just had a little bit of an attitude problem. He thought his shit didn't stink.
Yeah.
He was like he's a cocky, like he's young, he's a high school kid, but like he said that he probably was in need of a wake-up call. Because he was the kind of guy that would like walk around being like, I'm gonna be a first round pick in the NHL. I don't give a fuck about this class.
Yeah,
like shit like that. Where it's just like
that happens a lot, right?
100%. I remember that story about Tyler Seguin. Do you remember that?
No.
Where he wasn't handing in any of his homework, and his teacher like called his mom, and his mom was like, my son's going to the NHL. Who gives a fuck? And hung up. Just, like, I heard totally encouraging that mindset.
I grew up in Oakville. I heard similar stories. I think
did you
about John Tavares?
You grew up in Oakville?
I did grow up in Oakville. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
That's probably shocking to people.
Yeah.
Like there were always you heard similar stories about John Tavares because he was, I guess 4 years older than me.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, John Tavares is like. He was like told when he was like a McDavid, like
exceptional status,
level. So he like
that's
understandable from him. But he also like he doesn't seem like now he just doesn't seem like the kind of guy that would have been that.
Seguin, you can kind of see that, right?
Seguin, Seguin, yeah.
So I'm gonna read you. I'll read you the top 5 names on Frank Saravalli's board. I want you to tell me where you think they sign.
Okay.
So we'll start at 6 because number 5 is Leonard, and he's already signed with Vegas. So we'll go Mike Hoffman. Where do you see a fit for him? He's kind of who needs a scoring winger.
I think it depends on like I think he could go somewhere
like Carolina maybe.
Like I think he could go somewhere like a bad team and get a lot of money, or he can take a little bit off and get like.
You kind of wonder with him, maybe Montreal. Although I don't know how much cap space they're going to have now because they've just been throwing.
This isn't like I just wish I had my laptop where I could look at cap situations.
Yeah, maybe this is a little bit unfair to put you on the spot like this.
It's hard without like me being able to look at the caps and like who can because like I think it would be insane of me to know people's cap off the top of my head.
Okay, I'll go other ones.
Sure.
What about Taylor Hall?
I think Taylor Hall ends up
again, Montreal would be a big fit there.
You know who would be a good fit for Mike Hoffman is the Oilers.
Yeah, I don't. Do they have the cap space to make that work? Yeah,
I don't know, but I think he would be a great winger for McDavid.
Mm-hmm.
Like an unbelievable winger for McDavid.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know how they would make that work. Let me look up their cap situation.
Yeah.
But
give me the numbers on that because I've already convinced myself in my head that that's a really good idea.
Taylor Hall, I could see him in Colorado. That was always something that was kind of rumored. And apparently
Colorado is like they're so much fun.
There's reports too that he might be willing to like do the LeBron thing.
Yeah.
And just take like a 1-year deal and like go back at it next year.
Try to get
maximize his value that way.
Try to get a title.
The Oilers have $7.5 million in cap space, and they've got a bunch of guys to re-sign. So,
really,
a few guys, not a ton. They need a goalie because Koskinen's making $4.5 million. They need another goalie, like a backup goalie, because Mike Smith's a free agent.
We didn't talk about the goalie the Leafs drafted. Artur Anakamov. No, I don't know how to. That was bad. I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
Yeah.
Artur, but like I was excited that we were drafting a goalie because I wanted everybody heard me go off. Yeah, it's Artur Akhtyamov. Akhtyamov? I think that's it. I was looking up his highlights the other day.
Yeah.
This is why I wanted to bring him up. I was looking up his highlights after he got drafted, and I found a YouTube channel with like exactly the same spelling of his name, Artur Akhtyamov, and it was like a guy who like covers like Simple Plan, and like he's like a guitar player, and they looked similar enough where I was like, is that him? You know what I mean? But yeah. I don't think it is. But I was like,
that would be disappointing. How if that's
common?
Not him.
First of all, how common is that name? And Leafs Nation needs to know about this if he is a musical talent. Because he had some pipes. I'm not gonna lie. He covered like Third Eye Blind and like Simple Plan and like all those kind of like 90s early 2000s rock songs.
So just looking at
But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because I thought that was funny if they're both the same guy.
The Avalanche have about $22 million in cap space, but they have a lot of restricted free agents to take care of. So maybe they can fit Taylor Hall in. That would be like you throw.
I remember
McKinnon.
I remember last summer
Taylor Hall
looking at like after they got Kadri, looking at their salary cap situation, and they just had an absolute ton.
Yeah, like imagine going.
And like, do they have to sign defensemen? Because they're probably Bowen Byram is probably going to play next year for them.
They have 4 guys under contract for next year, and then Ryan Graves is a free agent, and Zadorov. Those two, they're both restricted free agents.
Yeah, they could get either one of those guys for relatively cheap. I'd imagine.
Yeah, like they're pretty
and then
set.
add in Bowen Byram.
Yeah.
So they could probably fit Hall.
Yeah, man, McKinnon, Rantanen, Hall, and then Kadri, Landeskog, Donskoy.
McKinnon and Hall on the same line would be stupid. How fast they would be.
Yeah, man.
Like that would be like nobody could catch you. Anyways.
One last guy I'll throw out, Pietrangelo. Where do you think he signs? Then we'll move on to the NHL. You think man, I think it's too late now.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. I lost the 8th year.
I'm protecting myself.
Vegas?
I'm protecting myself. My mental. Yeah, probably Vegas. I don't know. I'm protecting myself. I want to say the Leafs, but I don't want to say the Leafs because I want to protect my mental state.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say Vegas. Sure. Vegas. I'll say Vegas. Whatever.
One that scares me is Boston. No. You look at Boston's reportedly been in on Ekman Larson. If Ekman Larson.
What?
Yeah, that's like the thing. He's only waving to go to Boston or Vancouver. Those are the only 2 teams he's going to wave to go to. So.
No.
Yeah, I know, right? So maybe Pietrangelo ends up there if they miss out on him. Sorry to just ruin your day there. I don't know if the Leafs are going to actually make a play. I think it's maybe a little bit more likely than other people seem to think it is.
Yeah.
Like I think it's not going to be the hardest thing in the world for them to clear out the cap to do it.
Yeah.
It won't be easy, but I think it's possible. If I had to say, I'm going to predict Vegas for Pietrangelo.
Yeah, I'll go with Vegas too.
So, and I'll say Colorado for Taylor Hall. So we've done 40 minutes on the NHL. I think it's probably time to move on.
Yeah. Let's get into.
You want to do NFL?
No, I want to save NFL.
Okay.
I say we do NBA because we can roll through that pretty quick.
Yeah. So LeBron's got his shot to get his 4th title tonight.
I want to bring up what Skip Bayless has been saying.
What has Skip Bayless been saying? I haven't seen this.
he's the ultimate spin zone, like make my takes work.
Yeah.
So he's been all over LeBron, and he just like he won't like he's the ultimate like I'm not gonna give LeBron credit for anything. So
like he's made it like LeBron has made his career.
Yeah, one of my well, I mean, he covered Michael Jordan back in the day. Like I think Jordan made his career.
Maybe he didn't have the same kind of hot takes about Jordan though.
Yeah, but he didn't have the national coverage without Jordan.
Fair.
He would not be the name he is without having
Fair
covered
enough.
those Bulls back in the day.
Fair enough.
I don't think he would have even gotten that. He wouldn't have even gotten that show with Stephen A. Smith without him having covered the Bulls back then.
Fair.
So, Stephen A. Smith goes.
Skip.
Yeah, sorry. Skip Bayless goes. He goes. Anthony Davis is handing LeBron the MVP, the Finals MVP this year, by how bad he's playing. It's not LeBron playing well. It's because Anthony Davis is playing badly. And now I saw a new one. I think recently he was talking about. He's like, yeah, like if Kentavious Caldwell Pope didn't start playing this well, like LeBron has would have no shot at the title.
Just grasping at straws, right? Like,
as we said again, 3-1 leads, the most dangerous lead in the bubble. It is not over until it's over.
Yeah,
I don't think LeBron's gonna choke. Like he doesn't really choke.
The Heat are really banged up.
When he loses decisively. Mm-hmm. Like that's just a fact. Like in all of his finals losses, they've been like I don't think they've gone to 7.
I don't think any of them went to 7.
Yeah. Like when he loses, he loses.
Yeah. The one thing too is Miami's really banged up. Like Adebayo is playing again, but he's not. He's not. You know, Goran Dragic too hasn't played. Did you see the video of him like crying on the sideline when they were telling him he wasn't going to play?
No,
he was like
that sucks.
He wasn't like bawling, but you could see he was choking back tears.
It's like when an NFL player gets carted off with an ACL.
Yeah, similar.
And they're just like oh my god.
I guess they're telling him he couldn't play.
They're not bawling, but like you can see their heart broken.
Yeah. He's kind of their Kyle Lowry, like a very similar veteran point guard who like he's kind of like an agitator, grinded his whole career to get here, and now he's finally got a shot and he can't play in the finals. It's just kind of
sucks.
Yeah.
But Houston, even if they don't, not Houston, Miami, even if they don't win this year, like their future's bright. Like at the end of the day, like Jimmy Butler seems to have found his home. He's not going anywhere. Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo, Kendrick Nunn. You got Duncan Robinson. Like you've got all these young players,
and they're maybe the favorites for Giannis the year after. Like Miami's always going to be a destination for teams, and you've built that core, so you're going to find
you're going to find people being attracted to come in. Yeah, exactly. I agree.
And a team with that history too, like you.
So, Heat fans, don't be in despair. It's going to be okay. You're going to be fine for the future.
Yeah,
but
it's crazy how big this could be.
But I still think Heat and 7. Heat and 7.
It's crazy how big this could be for them to get like all those young guys this experience this young. You know what I mean? Like you've got Tyler Hero playing in a finals at 19 years old, and Duncan Robinson.
Is he 19?
He's young. I don't know if he's 19 or 20, man. Like,
I think he's 20.
Just to get all these young guys this experience, and then maybe with the possibility of adding Giannis down the line. He's 20, so he turned 20 in January. Born in 2000, man. That makes me sick.
Yeah.
Like that's disgusting.
Sucks.
Yeah. So that like the future is definitely bright for Miami. And the other thing too, this could be LeBron's last shot. Like he's going to be in real tough after this to get back here unless they add somebody else.
You think so?
Like Golden State's coming back next year. Like the Clippers are going to have something to say. They didn't have to play the Clippers this year. Like obviously in the East, there's gonna be the Nets. Milwaukee's gonna be back. Who knows what the Raptors are gonna do? Like I just think and LeBron's gonna be another year older. So I think it's just gonna be really tough for LeBron after this.
I've been hearing, Chris Bosh seems to think that LeBron is entering his second prime. That's what he said. That's
because you watch LeBron now and you can see. He's not obviously he's like 35 years old. He's not the guy he used to be. You can see he can turn it on.
He shouldn't be.
No, he shouldn't. He shouldn't be this good.
He shouldn't. He shouldn't. He should be getting hurt all the time.
Yeah.
He should be load management.
He's been hurt once in his career. Yeah. It's just crazy.
No, he's a freak. He was built in a laboratory. Yeah. I'm convinced of it.
And you can see he just has the ability to turn it on when he needs to.
Yeah.
But I think as he gets older, you're going to see he's only going to be able to turn it on fewer and farther between. But who knows? Maybe I'm wrong betting against LeBron, and Davis could obviously. like Davis is gonna have to transition to their best player sooner rather than later.
So is he Finals MVP for sure? If they win,
I think so. I think he is.
I think so too.
Unless like maybe they go to 7 and
Anthony Davis. Like,
no, I was gonna say Butler goes off and the Heat lose in 7. Maybe Butler.
That never happens in the NBA
it's
though.
only ever happened, I think, in the NHL the 1 year or twice.
Yeah,
like Ron Hextall and Jaguar.
Yeah, like it doesn't happen.
But I just like if he say he gets 2 more triple doubles and you know what I mean? Maybe it's not possible, but
yeah,
that's the only other thing I could see taking it from LeBron at this point.
It's LeBron's to lose. Mm-hmm. It's LeBron's to lose. It's LeBron's to lose.
Yeah.
I was gonna try to make some
convoluted
argument
unless
for maybe Anthony Davis.
Maybe Davis drops 81 in the Black Mamba jerseys tonight or something. That's
then you have to.
Yeah. Do you want to move on to MLB now?
Yeah, we'll do MLB. Astros are back.
Yeah,
it's happening. Heartbreak. Padres have lost 2. If you've watched those games against the Dodgers,
I haven't, but they've been. I've seen the highlights. They've just been snapping,
and they're so close.
Bellinger's robbing the home run yesterday.
They bring it so close, and then it's like last night it was 6-3 going into the top of the 9th, and they climb back to 6-5, load the bases, and then a ground out, and it's just like, what an absolute cock tease, just milking it until you're ready to go, and then all of a sudden, you're out. Third out. What's going on in your phone?
We got a little bit of news. It's nothing. I don't know. It's some NHL news.
We got a breaking story.
Some buyouts. Devils buyout Corey Schneider.
Whoa.
And then Blue Jackets buyout Alexander Wenberg. Which he's an interesting guy. Venberg. Sorry.
Yeah, Venberg.
He'd be an interesting. I know. Obviously, I'm sure. The rest of the country hates this, but he'd be a good fit for the Leafs.
I'm sure there's going to be a Leafs Reddit post about it. Every time somebody is on the market, it's just like, would this guy be a good fit?
See, that's where the Leafs to me are going to have. I hate to go back to the Leafs here, but that's where they're going to have to capitalize. Maybe in the buyout market, where guys that are already getting their money and the Leafs can give them minimums.
100%. That's why when you brought up Kyle Turris, I was like off air before this. Like we obviously talked about Kyle Turris already, but I just immediately was like, yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, those are guys I think that they could capitalize on. You saw they did it a few years ago with Tyler Ennis.
Yeah.
It was the same kind of thing, and he worked out really well for them.
Yeah. I like Tyler Ennis. He's a fun player.
Sorry, back to baseball now. I think I'm fully aboard your
Astros Dodgers.
Yeah. That, or I just want to even I don't know if this is much better. I just want to see the Yankees maybe just blow them out.
No.
Those are the only two.
I don't like the Yankees. I just can't. I can never support the Yankees.
See, that's the thing. I don't know if I can see any other team outside of the Dodgers and Yankees beating the Astros. You know what I mean? I just don't think that. Maybe we're overreacting to a couple good games from the Astros here, but
I wanted the Padres, but they're up against it. It's not going to happen now. They're down 0-2. I think the writing's on the wall. It's over for them. The Slam Diego Padres are out.
Yeah, Cody Bellinger is a guy who doesn't get enough credit to me as one of the best players.
He didn't have a great year.
No, he didn't. But he's a guy who can play. He can play center field, right?
Yeah. At the plate, he didn't have a great year.
No. But he's a guy who I think a severely underrated player, just considering his. I love guys who are versatile like that because I think it just lets you. I guess he can only play the outfield and first base because he's left-handed. But I just love guys who have the ability to do more than one thing defensively.
Though? I think the Rays could beat the Astros. Their pitching is sick.
Man. Glasnow and Snell, Morton, and then the bullpen. Nick Anderson is.
Castillo as well.
Yeah, Nick Anderson's the best reliever in baseball right now. I think he doesn't overpower you necessarily. I think he throws 99, but he doesn't blow you away the way Chapman does. But he's just unhittable in the way that Andrew Miller was unhittable. In that
I think the boring pick is definitely the Astros.
Yeah.
Or sorry, no, the
Yankees,
the Rays over the Astros.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
And then the fun pick would be your pick, the Yankees over the Astros, because that would just be a home run off.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Because the Yankees, I don't think their pitching's good enough.
No, they got Jordan Montgomery starting tonight in a playoff game.
Yeah. There's just not good enough.
No.
So, Rays Astros is probably what's happening next.
Yeah, and
that's fine.
Yeah,
and then what on the other? Dodgers Braves?
Yeah,
probably.
Braves are a fun team too, man. Like
Yeah.
Acuna's just bat flipping the shit out of everything.
I've always liked he I got scared. He almost got hurt last
Did he? I mean, I didn't see that.
Yeah, he fouled a pitch off his foot, and he was like really limping, and I was like, that looks scary. Like I hate like sometimes I'm like that looked like it hurt way. Like then they just like shake it off and like
that would hurt a lot, man. Like,
off the because it's always off the inside of the ankle, and it's like Jesus right on the ball there.
Yeah.
Oh, like that is I makes me squirm. But yeah, so that'll be fun.
You want to get into the NFL now?
Yeah, let's get into the NFL.
Lot going on in the NFL.
What you're here for?
We got a lot going on in the NFL right now. Is the league gonna finish the season right now?
No idea. Well, we all knew that this was an absolute joke of a plan to combat COVID.
And you know what? This is worse than baseball's plan because they saw baseball's plan fail and just said, "Yeah, we'll do that."
They saw it fail and they understood that they have 200-man staffs.
And they said, "Yeah, we'll do it anyways."
Yeah, people staffs. That's inappropriate, man.
Yeah.
It's just ignorance.
Yeah.
Like it's just ignorance. Like that's all it is. Like and I'm gonna lose a Bills game this year because of it, and potentially.
Yeah.
Like which is selfish of me to say, but I'm gonna be selfish for a second. Like we're 4-0. I don't want an asterisk on our fucking record. I really don't.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, but you got that free win against the Titans. So it's like, fuck you.
Mm-hmm.
We would have beat the Titans anyways. Whatever.
Because I remember the beginning of the year, beginning of the football season, we sat down here and threw out our ideas for what a bubble would look like for them, and I thought we had some pretty good ideas that clearly were better than this.
Way better than this.
So it's like
it's just the willing.
You couldn't do it for 2 months.
You know what I mean? It's just the willingness of people to or of them to make the plan.
I wonder if you see them bubble for like the last few games of the year.
Too many moving parts right now mid-season to make that work. Like that's just it's infinitely harder now.
Yeah.
To set something up.
And I don't know if they're going to want to move the playoffs back, right? Because you almost think they probably should have done.
They have that 1 week.
I don't know if they're going to want to get rid of that though. You know what I mean? But I guess
why do they need the media week now?
Right.
Like they're not going to have fucking gatherings. Like the Pro Bowl, just put a Pro Bowl on paper. Like you're not going to play the Pro Bowl.
Is that 1 week going to be enough though?
It's better than nothing right now. Like I don't know.
The other thing they should have done is they should have had every team's bye week 11, 12, 13. Those should have been every team should have their bye then. Just because, like now the Packers have already had their bye. What if they have an outbreak and because apparently cases are not very good in Green Bay right now or in Wisconsin. So if they have an outbreak, you've already used up their bye. You don't have that leeway that you had with the Steelers last week.
The early buys could definitely fuck.
Yeah, that's something that's kind of stood out to me as what could be a problem.
The only thing I would like is if the game got forfeited. I mean, this is another selfish thought by me. If the Bills-Titans game got forfeited and we got a free win and our bye week, so that week 11 I don't have to go through a bye week. But I don't know how that would work. Like, how would they, they wouldn't put I guess they wouldn't put a game in week 11, so that wouldn't work. That was just my dumb brain fucking trying to avoid having because I hate late bye weeks.
Yeah?
Like when I'm watching my team, yeah. I want an early bye week just so that when I'm really getting into it and we're into our playoff stretch.
It's better for the team on the field though, I guess, to have the late bye week, right?
For me as a fan, reasons. I'm like, let's get it out of the way early so that I don't have to late in the season sit through a random week without my Bills. But
one thing you can look to baseball and draw a little bit of optimism from is the fact that they had their outbreaks early on, and then it kind of seemed like, I know Tony Clark, the head of the PA, and Rob Manfred kind of had a meeting where they said, look, we gotta smarten up here. We gotta stop having these outbreaks. We gotta start taking this seriously. And then it seemed like it all went away. Mm-hmm. So maybe there's the bit of a saving grace there that maybe the NFL can have that moment where they're like, listen, guys, it's just harder. You cannot be holding illegal workouts the way the Titans were in the middle of an outbreak.
Let's talk about that before we get to the – or is that in the questions?
Sort of.
Okay, so let's get to –
we'll talk about it now, then let's go into the questions.
Brandon's – no, let's just do it.
You want to go right in?
We'll get to Brandon's 10 burning questions at the forefront.
So as we were just saying, the Titans they're having a bit of an outbreak right now. I think 25 players have tested positive on the Titans.
So question one, will we see teams forfeit games due to COVID? I think if it happens this week.
Yeah.
Because
I'll kind of change that a little bit.
How can it get worse?
Well, that's what I'll say. If it happens, it's going to happen to the Titans or a team that's already doesn't have their bye, because the Titans have already used up their bye and now they're in serious danger of not playing again this week.
And also, how can you there's evidence that they went against protocol.
There's videos. Yeah, there's videos of them holding a workout.
So there's evidence that they went against protocol. If you don't forfeit the Titans this week, how can you justify forfeiting anybody else?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Right? Because how can it get worse? They went against protocol. They have I think it's up to 25 cases now, 23 cases.
I think 25 players are on the list. So that is also just players that have come into contact, direct contact with people.
I think it's 23 confirmed cases.
Maybe that's what it is.
With players and staff.
Okay. I think there's 25 players on the list.
I read that this morning. So how could you ever there won't be any forfeits if you don't forfeit this game. Because how can it get worse? How can you justify it getting worse when there's this much evidence, this many cases, clear negligence, and they've already had their bye week? Everything points towards we either forfeit the game or it's just a null and void game and it doesn't happen. And if it's a null and void game and it doesn't happen, no games down the line.
And that fucks up the schedule too.
Yeah, no games down the line can be justified to be forfeited because I can't see it getting any more crystal clear than this.
The one thing too, because I know
it being the team's fault.
The easy suggestion is maybe just add a week at the end of the year. But the problem is if you do that and say the Chiefs get the first round bye and they don't lose any games, they're sitting there for 3 weeks without playing a football game. You know what I mean? So that does kind of screw them over for getting the bye, and then you got to go into an AFC divisional round game.
Yeah,
with that amount of rust.
I saw an idea where somebody was just you just say the Bills play 15 games and you go strictly off of win percentage.
They might have to end up. That's what baseball did, right? So you might have to end up doing that.
Yeah, which I don't like.
You don't love that, obviously.
I don't like that because I think we can beat the Titans.
Yeah, but what it's kind of at a point where it's what else can you do? I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
And the problem is that punishes the Bills for something the Titans did irresponsibly.
That's what I'm saying, right? But
the Steelers got screwed too because the Steelers had to burn their bye week in week 4. Where they were supposed to have it in week 11.
That's the argument against giving the Bills a forfeit because you didn't give the Steelers one.
Yeah. That's true too.
That's the argument.
Yeah, that's a good point too. But I guess the argument is then you didn't. They weren't breaking protocol.
They didn't have the evidence back then.
And I don't know if we know this or not, but if it comes out that the team was behind, it seems like my impression of this that it was just a bunch of players got together and said, "Let's go use this field." But if it comes out that Mike Vrabel was saying go or anybody,
just any of the staff were there.
Yeah, that too. Or even just saying you guys got to work out, figure out a way to do it. Yeah. If this was directed by the team at all, you're maybe talking losing a first round pick.
Yeah.
I think.
And I want to talk about Roger Stafford because he came out defending their actions.
He's a guard for the Titans.
Yeah, he's a guard for the right guard for the Titans.
Is he on the Titans or is he just
He's on the Titans.
Okay.
He was talking about he was saying what people need to understand is this is our livelihood and this is how we make money to feed our families. And it's okay, so if you care so much about your families, why are you putting them at risk of getting COVID when you know that you're going to go back home and you're meeting with a bunch of people that could potentially have it?
Yeah.
Okay?
And not even
so
just
you want to throw the family values shit in our face? Fuck off with that.
You're endangering our families because
you're trying to play the fucking victim here, and you guys are the ones in the wrong.
Yeah.
Okay? So don't try to make us feel bad. Don't try to fucking victim don't say that we're victim blaming oh, you're all victims. No, you made a decision to do something and it's coming back to bite you now and you guys are getting a horrible rep.
Yep.
And you got to fucking face the music. Sorry. You made a decision.
It's kind of similar.
This isn't about your family.
It's similar
it's about the whole league trying to make something work and you guys going against the rules that were agreed upon before the season started.
Yep. And yeah. And again, yeah, I don't. There's not much else to add to that, right?
Yeah, I think that's it.
And you look at what guys.
I feel bad that people on the team have it. Obviously, I don't want anybody to get sick. Okay, but if you're not doing everything in your power to prevent people from getting sick, then how much sympathy can I fucking have for you?
You don't need to work out in a group, too. You know what I mean?
No.
You can work out at home. You guys are.
You're adults.
Yeah. You can even
figure it out. Sorry.
Yeah.
You're adults getting paid millions of dollars to play a game, and there were rules set in place that would have helped avoid this fucking whirlwind of a situation.
Yep.
Okay? So figure it out. Stop trying to get sympathy because your families need to get fed. Your families are getting fed. You know what? But you're putting them at more risk
and
than them losing money.
And you're putting everybody else's family at risk too, because you're going to
Yeah.
continue to spread the virus.
Another team or organization that's putting people at risk are the Miami Dolphins. Did you see this? Did you see this? You hear about this?
There. I'm just going to grab some water. Do you want to just...
Like, they're now going to go to full capacity in the stadium.
What about, I think the Bucs and Jaguars are allowed to do it?
Yeah, I think the Florida governor passed it, which is like fuck off. Like, now every team has to be subjected to like 100,000 mouth breathing fans just like spewing like, oh my God, like just have some common sense. I don't care if it's a political issue. I don't care if it's a red state. I don't care if you think it's a hoax. This shit is real. Let's just worry about everybody else instead of worrying about ourselves and our bottom line and going to see the Miami Dolphins play. Who's risking their lives? Who's risking
for two of those three teams, right?
Yeah.
Like the Jaguars.
Who's risking their life and their family's livelihood to go watch the Miami Dolphins and Jacksonville Jaguars? Like, God damn it. Like, give me a break.
And it's even at that point too. It's almost the NFL has to step in there. I think that's on them. Like, say teams you can only have like 25% capacity. Like the NFL has to impose some kind of rule there, in my mind. But it doesn't seem like they want to do that for whatever reason.
Well, it's because the individual states down there have so much autonomy, right? And they can just make laws depending on like how they feel. So
sticking with the COVID stuff, is there any chance we see any players cut for breaking protocol?
Yeah.
You think that'll
For
happen?
sure. Yeah.
It could have already happened. We might not know about it.
Players in the past get cut for missing meetings.
Yeah.
Let's get real. So like if you're a low tier player, I'd suggest be smart.
Yeah.
Because if you're not absolutely essential and you give the team bad PR or you put their stars at risk,
cost them a draft pick.
Yeah, you get them a fine or you put their stars at risk. I could see very easily that you're gonna hit the fucking road.
We'll get back onto the football field now. Maybe a little bit more happy news or happy questions here. Is Joe Burrow the front runner for the Offensive Rookie of the Year?
Yes.
Yeah, I think he is too.
Yes.
Because Clyde Edwards-Helaire was the other one. He hasn't performed the way we expected.
Yeah, I mean, he's not.
He's a part of a really good offense.
He's great, and I just think he's got a lot more going for him than Joe Burrow does.
And
Joe Burrow is the first rookie quarterback in the history of the NFL to start his first 3 games with 300 passing yards.
No, I think it's 3 games because the first game he threw for like 297.
Really?
The first game I think he didn't quite get there. I think it's the first quarterback to throw 3 in a row or something.
Oh, so Herbert must be like 1 game away from that because hasn't he done that twice?
Let me double check here, but
Herbert would be like right there.
It's like the Bengals against the Chargers. The thing too with the Bengals, man, I know they're my team.
Well, we talked about it before. I said I don't think their offense is going to be bad.
No, because they're going to have to throw all the time, right?
Well, their line's horrible.
Burrow's first game he threw for 193.
Ooh.
Okay.
But then he's got 300 the rest?
Yes.
Okay. So Herbert, look up Herbert for me. I think he's got 2 300s in a row. I know he threw 300 last game.
Maybe it's just 3 of the first. Maybe it's, I don't know. Maybe it's a bit of a cherry pick stat, but
it's definitely a cherry pick stat.
Where it's like 3 in the first 4 games.
Those are the best though.
Yeah.
Make a stat to fit your narrative. That's sports fan 101. That's sports analyst 101.
The thing too with the Bengals is they're like Randy Bullock's Cavs away from like.
He's one of the best kickers in the league right now.
He hasn't missed, I think, since both his calves like blew up.
Yeah.
But like if he makes that kick, they're going to overtime again.
His calves generated a new power after that injury.
It's like when you get Tommy John and you can throw harder.
Yeah.
He's got the same thing.
That's what
with
happened
his calves.
after that devastating calf injury.
They very easily could be 3-1 when you think about the way these games are. And I know you can't do that in the NFL.
100%.
And good teams win those games. But
but spin zone.
Yeah,
you're a Bengals fan. Yeah. That's it.
Like
they're pretty much 3-1.
We're 2 plays away from sitting here talking about them being 3-1 because Burrow threw a touchdown pass to AJ Green and got called back for offensive pass interference.
Yep.
They would have won that game.
The tie game is obviously a coin flip.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're sitting there.
You're sitting there and
feeling
you could
way better about the Bengals than you are right now. I can't find this chart. There it is. Sorry.
What's Herbert at? Is that what you're looking at?
Herbert, his first game remember we went off against, he threw for 311.
Yeah. And then last game he threw 300 against the Bucks.
He threw 330 against the Bucks.
Yeah, so he's one game away from
sorry, he threw 290 against the Bucks.
Really?
Yeah, so he went 311, 330, 290.
Oh, so he missed it. He missed it. Yeah. Sorry, Justin.
And I think Burrow threw for 300 on the nose.
It's so weird.
Last game.
I thought for sure he threw 300 because he had those two 50-yard bombs. So I was he must. If he had two passes for 100.
Well, Josh Kelly, I think, dropped one in that game too. He dropped one, I think, in the end of the first half. That would have maybe given it to them. He dropped one that I think it was in the end zone.
What's the deal with Eckler right now? Is he going to play, or is that?
I don't know. I haven't heard anything. I don't think he's playing this week for whatever that's worth. Are you so we're gonna go to your Bills now? Are you concerned about their defense at all?
No.
You're not concerned?
No.
I know they were missing.
Defenses across the league have been much worse, and I think it's all gonna revert back to norm. Maybe not norm, but I think defenses were affected more by no preseason than the offenses were.
Yeah.
I think that's just the reality. I think the NFL is an offensive league. The rules have been skewed towards more points, more offense, and it's happening. And you don't give a defense the 4 preseason games to mesh. They don't have the same kind of camps going on because there's COVID restrictions. Everything is working against defenses right now.
And Edmonds and Milano were out for the first 3 games.
Edmonds and Milano were out for one game.
I thought it was 2.
No, it was just one. They got injured in the one, so it was 1.5.
Okay.
But yeah, so I mean, we lost Levi Wallace to an ankle injury, but Josh Norman looked great.
He did look really good. I watched some of that game.
So I'm not too nervous, and I think since McDermott is a defensive guy, I think if things continue, he will step away from the offense and just be like, Dable, he might have already. Dable, you handle it. You've been calling great plays. Our offense has been clicking. I'm going to figure out how to make this defense work right now.
The one thing too,
and he's an obsessive defensive coach. I know that he doesn't like giving up over 20 points a game.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. I think they're 7th. They're like near the bottom in yards allowed per game, but I think. No, maybe not. I thought they were. Well, the Rams game they were winning early, so they kind of went into a prevent mode. I know that you love
their prevent defense is the worst.
I think they've done that a few times this year, which would kind of skew the numbers a little bit.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we've given up touchdown on.
Well, like the Jets, they were up
on the other teams.
The Jets.
On the other team's last drive, I think all 4 games we've given up a touchdown.
Yeah, that's a Bengal stat right there.
That's just a stat off the top of my head that I'm pretty sure is real.
I guess the Rams game they technically didn't. But that's a bit of a loophole because the Rams had the yeah. But I know what you're saying.
It was one of the last drives.
I think the Bengals. I can't remember. I wish I knew this stat off the top of my head, but it's like they lead the NFL in, touch points allowed in the last 2 minutes of halves.
That's a good stat.
And there's like an insane amount of times where they've gotten scored on twice.
No clutch gene.
Yeah, they've gotten scored on twice in the last 2 minutes of the half, which I love when that happens. Like that is fucking hilarious.
Yeah, that's just like.
I think the Steelers have done it to them 2 of the last 3 games. They've scored twice in the last 2 minutes of a half.
Big Ben is such a good 2-minute offense, especially against though. Like he is, like he just always has been.
Especially against the Bengals too. Mm-hmm. That helps.
So
no, you're not concerned.
No, I'm not. Not until we like start getting absolutely torched through the air, which like, okay, actually, you know, a better way to describe this is until I can't explain away the problem,
because the defense hasn't hurt them, if you know what I mean. Like they've gotten burned a little bit, like I said, because they were holding leads.
In the first half we've been good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which
is like I see it. I see like our potential, and then I see us go to the prevent defense, and then we get torched. So no,
we're without Mike this week, but we'll still go with the Packers question. Did we what the hell was that? Did we underestimate the Packers' weapons in the offseason? Because I know they were getting a lot of flack for not drafting receivers in the first round.
We underestimated the power of Aaron Rodgers is what we did. We didn't underestimate the weapons because the weapons still suck.
They've got 2. They've got 2 good weapons. Tonyan 2.5. I'm counting Aaron Jones.
Tonyan on any other offense is not scoring 3 touchdowns.
Kittle.
He's not scoring 3 touchdowns in a game on any other offense. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like Aaron Rodgers is back officially.
Yep.
Like he's back. Mm-hmm. That's it.
And
That's all I have to say. There's nothing else to say. Like, the weapons, they're still not there. They have Aaron Jones, who's a superstar.
Devontae Adams is a
superstar.
Hurt.
We knew that those two guys were superstars. And the rest of their weapons, Aaron Rodgers can make it work. I don't think we underestimated their offense. If they had picked a receiver, he would be dominating too.
Yeah.
So
you're right. You're right.
So it's like they probably should have picked a receiver.
But let me rephrase that a little bit. Like, do you think they knew this? Like, they knew, like, we trust Aaron to do this? You don't think so? And then they thought, well, let's build the rest of our team. But I guess
that's why they picked a quarterback.
Yeah, they didn't build the rest of their team when you think about it.
Yeah, they picked a quarterback, a third string running back, and a fullback.
Yeah.
In the first 3 picks.
Yeah.
So no, I don't think they knew what they had. I said that on the podcast the other day. I think it was an incompetent draft, and I think they're getting bailed out by Aaron Rodgers' resurgence.
Mm-hmm.
I like, how do you give credit for that draft? Like, how? It's like, oh, we knew what we had, so we were building for the future. Like, no, that is a horrible strategy. It's a horrible strategy.
Like, lots of times I think there is
if
value.
You're in win, you should be in win now mode if you knew what you had.
Mm-hmm.
And that is pick the players that will help you get to the Super Bowl. You were in the NFC Championship.
I think there is value in drafting quarterbacks later in the draft because there's always the chance you can flip them for like a 2nd-round pick or something. But you're like, if you can't flip Jordan Love for a better pick than where you picked him. You know what I mean?
You've traded up to pick him.
Yeah. And we
didn't underestimate the weapons. Their draft sucked. They didn't know what they had. Next question.
I wonder if you see them make a trade for a receiver at some point. Maybe one of the ones in Cincinnati who might be available. There's 2 there that
AJ Green and Michael Thomas.
No, John Ross might be another one.
Oh, John Ross. Yeah,
he'd be a good fit for them. I think
he's invisible.
He's not very good, but I think he might be able to help them out a little bit. Just looking at who was picked behind Jordan Love. I guess there was a couple of receivers picked in the 2nd round behind him, but there wasn't really anybody.
Denzel Mims, T. Higgins.
The next 2 receivers were
KJ Hamler.
Higgins and Pittman were the next 2.
KJ Hamler went the second.
Chenault,
right?
KJ Hamler,
Chenault,
Chase Claypool, Canadian.
Chenault would have been fun in that offense, man. He can do everything. I mean, I would like to see a Laviska Chenault work with an Aaron Rodgers. That would be fun.
I don't know. This is a bit of a tangent here, but I am sick of the backup quarterback plays, like the Taysom Hill stuff and the Jalen Hurts stuff.
Yeah.
Like has
Jalen? I haven't watched a lot of Eagles stuff. Has he been getting in?
Yeah, he fumbled in that game running a play like that. I think.
Cool.
I don't think he turned the ball over, but he fumbled and got sacked. And it's just like. It's just coaches like trying to look sick. You know what I mean? Like the Taysom Hill fumbled in the Monday Nighter a couple weeks ago. And it's just
it's the style of the week, right? It's it's like a trend.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, like everybody else is doing it. It's the copycat.
Yeah,
league.
I'm so sick of seeing it though. It's like, all right, man, we get it. Everybody knows it's coming. Yeah, you're not gonna
just draft.
Keep Drew Brees under center.
Just draft a guy like Josh Allen.
Yeah,
who can do it all
in one.
Like, come on, it's not that hard. We did it.
Speaking of drafting quarterbacks, number 1, were we too quick to crown the Arizona Cardinals?
Absolutely.
I think we were too.
Absolutely.
They're going to be an exciting team still, I think. But
yeah, they're still young. Like, let's get real here. Like, they're still young. They still have an unproven head coach.
Their defense is really banged up too right now. Just to be fair to them, they've got the Jets this week too. So I think again, maybe we're too quick to write them off. We're not. They're
going to beat the Jets.
Yeah,
like they're going to beat the Jets. Sam Darnold's out.
Do you think you could build a team of free agents right now that would beat the Jets? The only problem would be quarterback. No. I think you could, man.
No, you couldn't.
I think you could take a shot.
No, you couldn't. No, that's too much.
Or what about like?
Yeah, I think Alabama might give them a run.
I think
I
think free agents would be
maybe
better than Alabama.
I think Clemson would give them a run.
Let's see. Could you build a team of like
rookies?
Rookies, you could for sure.
Yeah,
I think
you could build a team of rookies that would beat the Jets.
Or like 3rd string guys. Like, do you think you could take guys
next week I'm gonna come in with an all rookies team, and we're gonna compare them to the Jets roster.
Yeah.
And I will show you that they would win.
The line would be a problem, I think, in the corners, but like there are good young corners.
And you know what? I'll even put a cap on 1st-round picks. Okay.
All right.
Like these will be players, like not all 1st rounders. Like I will put a cap on it. Okay. So I will come in with an entire roster of rookies, and we will compare them to the New York Jets, and you and Mike will tell me whether or not you think my all-rookie team would be able to beat the Jets. Okay?
Okay.
I like that segment for next week. So I will do that for you guys.
Another team. Are we buying the Cleveland Browns?
I'm buying.
I'm not.
I'm buying.
I think they've beaten, but you look at, I know you hate this narrative, but the teams that they've beaten Washington, Dallas, and Cincinnati. They've beaten 3 teams that are not great.
Mm-hmm.
I would say 3. The Washington's defense is okay. The other 2 teams do not have good defenses.
Is there a little bit of a division rivalry bias here, though? For you?
No, because I don't hate the Browns. Not yet. They've never been good enough for me to dislike them.
But you look down on the Browns.
Maybe a little bit.
There's a little bit of a mental narrative that you've already created.
I think maybe the bigger narrative is just how bad they've been recently, and I just don't see it with them.
I see a team that is finally under a new coach, understanding what they have and how to use it.
They've had to scheme around Baker, though. You know what I mean? They've schemed,
sure. I don't
know how long that's gonna last.
Yeah, I don't think Baker is
They're winning in spite of him right now. I think, or not in spite of him's harsh, but they're winning without using him almost.
So what I see in the Browns is I see a team that understands how good their run game could be. They're utilizing their run game. They're utilizing pass rush. They're understanding that they should just throw Denzel Mims on the number 1 receiver, and that's their defense, pass rush, and then just have Denzel. It's not Denzel Mims, Denzel Ward.
Yep.
Denzel Mims. I'm sorry, I'm messing up names today.
Close enough.
It's Denzel Ward. Throw Denzel Ward on the number 1 receiver. He's a lockdown corner. He showed it throughout this year. He can lock people down, and then have your pass rush do work. Try to hold the offense. Try to hold the offenses off the field by running the football because you can do it, and then have Baker run these little short passes and little plays, and then if you ever throw the ball, get it to Odell. This team understands how to use the players that they have a lot better than the previous teams did, than the Freddie Kitchens teams did.
I don't disagree with you about that.
So I am buying into the Browns. But we need to define what buying in means. Are they going to win their division? No. Are they even going to get second in the division? No. But will they have a potential to battle for that 3rd wild card spot? Yes.
They've also played the easiest part of their schedule. I think it gets really tough now. They've got to play the Ravens twice. They've got to play the Steelers twice.
Okay, so do you want to do a friendly bet?
Yeah.
Will they be in the hunt bracket?
I'll say
week 16.
If I set their over, are they still alive week 16? Okay, I like that. I'll say no.
In the hunt.
I'll say no.
For that 3rd wild card.
Can they still make the playoffs?
Yeah, you know that. Yeah,
I know what you're talking
about. In the hunt bracket that everybody puts out.
Yep. So that's basically just the teams that still have a chance.
When you have a mediocre team, you get addicted to that fucking bracket. You get addicted to it.
My problem with that though is if they're 7, or if they're 6 and 8 at that point, they still technically will probably have a shot to get in.
Okay.
I think they probably will be, but I think it'll be they'll be a token team.
Okay, so week 17, how about that?
No.
You don't think they'll be playing for their lives in the last week? Because I think they will be.
I don't think they will be.
Okay, so what do we want to put on this?
I don't know.
Something friendly.
We got a couple things.
It's a pedestrian bet.
We've got a couple things we got to figure out off air.
Yeah.
Maybe some beers or something.
Yeah. Maybe we'll post a list of our bets on our website, ongoing
that's a good
bets.
Idea. And then, I like that. That's a good idea. Frontpage.ca. There's some content up there. Give it a read. We promise we'll get some more stuff on
Once I get
there.
my laptop back, then I'm going to start absolutely bum rushing that thing with articles and posts and content. So, so that was pretty good conversation about the Browns. Let's move on to the team they just destroyed. The Dallas Cowboys.
Are they the most lopsided team in NFL history, do you think? Their offense is incredible, and their defense looks horrible.
Yeah, I'm no NFL historian, but I've never seen a team. Never seen a team like this,
and it's so exciting. I have Amari Cooper in fantasy, and it's just I'm addicted to watching Cowboys games.
You know that they're gonna sling.
Yeah,
right.
They have to.
You're like, okay, let's go. It's kind of hurting Zeke's fantasy performance
because they can't run the ball anymore.
So it's almost fun too because I didn't pick Zeke, and I know you love picking Zeke in fantasy.
I didn't get a chance to pick him. I took Dalvin Cook in the first round.
Who's been awesome.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't think I can with good conscience say in history, because I'm not an NFL historian,
but
it's the most lopsided that I've ever seen.
I would agree with that. I think I know we had the question a couple weeks ago if the Falcons will be the highest scoring losing team in NFL history. I think it's going to be the Cowboys.
Yeah, I think they've answered that question.
Like
we talked about it in
CeeDee Lamb is really good.
Yeah.
Like when you watch him play.
Well, I knew he was really good.
And Gallup's a deep
I know
threat.
you guys don't watch college football, but when I saw him playing at Oklahoma, I was like, okay, so Baker Mayfield had this guy.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why he was so sick. Because this guy,
Marquise Brown too.
Marquise Brown as well, Hollywood Brown, yeah, and he had Mark Andrews at tight end. Like he was just a wealth of rich. Like he was rich. So like that, yeah. Like CeeDee Lamb he's special, and I also want to ask another question: is Jerry Jones the best marketer in the history of the NFL?
For sure he is. Yeah. For sure.
He is the best at
he's like Vince McMahon of football.
You shouldn't picking CeeDee Lamb. Like how is that anytime you pick CeeDee Lamb, it should not have been a stupid pick, but that was a fucking stupid pick. It was.
Yeah. Especially when you look now at their defense right now, and
it was a stupid pick. They need corners, they need linebackers, they need fucking defensive tackles.
I think Patrick Queen was still on the board too. They took him.
Everything.
Not Patrick Queen.
Patrick Queen was still on the board, because he went to the Ravens.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
It was CeeDee Lamb should never be called a stupid pick, but that was a stupid pick. They had a wealth of talent on the offense. They did not need CeeDee Lamb.
Because I know we talked about the NHL.
It is the ultimate
the NFL is the ultimate draft by position league, right? Like every other draft, I think you draft for the best player available. Yeah,
and the NFL, Jerry Jones, these Dallas Cowboys are all sizzle no steak, and that's just that. Nobody can argue that because we've seen it. And
but they're fun.
They're so much fun. And it's also fun because they keep losing. Because I don't like the Cowboys.
They very easily could make the playoffs because that division is garbage.
That might be one. We say it every year.
Yeah, it's weird, eh?
They're the worst division in football. Yeah. I mean, it's them or the AFC South.
Yeah, but the South at least
has
the
the
Colts.
Titans.
The Colts too, right?
Yeah, well, the Colts are fine.
Yeah, the Colts are better. They'd be the best team in that division by a mile, right?
You think so?
Yeah, the Colts for sure. Yeah,
probably.
Sticking with that division now, is the Washington football team the worst run team in the NFL? This week they've decided to bench Dwayne Haskins and move to Kyle Allen.
They're not.
No, you don't think so?
No.
Who do you think's worse?
Who's worse?
It's
the Jets.
The Jets are bad, but man,
the Jets are worse. The
Jets
are worse.
But this is the Jets doing what they're doing and then going to Joe Flacco.
The Jets are worse.
I don't know, man.
Ron Rivera just got there.
He's
a good coach.
Leaving him out of that. You're right.
I like Ron Rivera.
That's where they're
he's a smart guy. Adam Gase versus Ron Rivera, it's not even a fucking question.
Unless they've just decided they're going to go get Tua now. Maybe that's Washington's plan.
You mean Lawrence?
Trevor Tua. Jesus.
Or Justin Fields, or Trey Lance, or Kyle Trask, who's working his way. He's kind of having a Joe Burrow-esque season.
Yeah.
He's dominating for the Florida Gators right now. Anybody who likes good tight end work, go watch a Florida Gators. This Kyle Pitts guy, man, look into him. For your own sake. This guy is sick. Kyle Pitts. And then it's Kyle to Kyle. Kyle Trask to Kyle Pitts.
It's kind of crazy when you look at the teams that have drafted. You'd think that you would never see that happen before, where a team drafts a quarterback in the high in the first round and then takes another one next year.
Somebody had to set the precedent.
Yeah, and the Dolphins did it, right?
No, the Cardinals did it.
Yeah, sorry, the Cardinals, and then they traded Rosen to the Dolphins.
Yeah.
And I'd be willing to bet you see that again this year.
Yeah,
the Jets,
the Jets, at least it wasn't the next year.
Right. And I guess with Washington, it wouldn't be either. But can you imagine? Think about that now. If just a team,
if the Bengals ended up picking
or
Trevor
the
Lawrence
Chargers
next year,
pick Trevor Lawrence or something.
Yeah, that would be ridiculous. Yeah. Well, that would actually be exactly apples to apples because they both were picked at 10.
Yeah,
Rosen and Herbert.
Yeah, man, that's just insane to think about, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but yeah. So no, I don't think they're the worst. I think they have the worst ownership. But
yeah, that's more where I was going.
But
like,
I don't think they're
they
the worst. I don't think they're the worst run based on like all around front.
They
office.
do have.
I think that I think the Ron
sure.
Rivera hiring was the best thing that they've done in that organization since canceling the Redskins name.
So I know one of the things that we had at the beginning of the year was, will we see Alex Smith get a start? Do you think we see that now? We're seemingly one step closer because
I want to.
I do too. I think Rivera's the kind of guy I think that will throw him a bone at some point and just give him a start. When
I want to
things
see
don't
it.
matter.
I want to see it.
I don't know if you saw that.
I
Picture
never
too.
bought into Dwayne Haskins. I've always thought he was kind of like a product of Ohio State.
Which
like
is,
you go to Ohio State. Like
which is fine, but like don't pick that guy that high. You know what I mean? Like
100%. But it's like
that to me reeks.
But people still buy in. But like people still buy into that, and like I get it. Like he was good in college, but he played for Ohio State. Like he played like
he's a guy that would have made sense if they didn't pick a quarterback in the first round last year for like a team to Green Bay to try and trade for him.
That was the one thing I was honestly like. I don't say I'm you know me, I'm loyal to my guys. I love Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
I was worried about Joe Burrow. That
was one of the things I was worried about.
Because of the talent he had around him. You're seeing Justin Jefferson go off.
Yeah.
That was his second receiver. Mm-hmm. He wasn't even
Jamar
his
Chase is
Jamar
go top
Chase
5 next year, probably.
was his best receiver.
Yeah.
And he had Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He had Randy Moss's son in Thaddeus Moss, who was like the fifth option. They had Terrace Marshall, who's like gonna be a Biletnikoff finalist this year. He's been dominating for LSU. Like he had
tight end award, Biletnikoff, or is it the
no,
receiver
it's the receiver award? He was like that's what I was worried about, and I think that's what you're seeing with guys like Haskins, where like and Baker Mayfield, which we just talked about, is sometimes playing for these elite programs almost just gives you more clout as a quarterback because you're playing with all this NFL talent already, and then your talent is more or less. Like it's just less likely to translate at a boom level.
Yeah. I don't
like
know.
you could probably survive because you can play with NFL talent and you're showing that you can play with NFL talent. But will you improve in the NFL? Probably not.
You're not,
because you're just gonna plateau.
The one thing too, I don't know if you saw that picture of Haskins at practice yesterday.
No.
Just like Allen and Smith were taking reps, and Haskins just standing back there with his arms crossed, like
pissed.
Just not doing it. I don't even know if he was participating. It might have just been like the picture, like it wasn't.
Might have just caught him at a bad time.
It wasn't his turn to take reps, but
not good optically.
The reporter tweeted out Haskins isn't taking reps at practice.
Did you
today.
see Josh Allen with that new tinted visor?
Yeah, I don't know. Like the NFL man, I don't know.
Sexy.
I don't know why they don't let players wear tinted visors.
Man, he looked sexy in practice.
It's just like. It's just the prototypical no fun league. You're not allowed to do anything cool.
I mean, I get it for the quarterbacks because like a big part of the defense is reading their eyes.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Like,
I know, I get it, but I can explain it away in my head why they don't let that happen.
Yeah,
I would like to see
and nobody can do that, right? Nobody can wear tinted visor.
I'd like to see some receivers be able to do it,
especially those ones, like the ones with the like the logo and like the I don't know what.
It's like a gold, but then everybody in the comments underneath the video kept saying like, "I love the red tinted visor."
It like changes colors. It's like one of those, like the oil kind of color.
Yeah.
It's like one of those.
Yeah, but it looked so cool.
Yeah.
And I really wish he could play with it on the field.
Because I think the only way you can wear a tinted visor in the NFL is you have like a medical exception. Because I know LaDainian Tomlinson was prone to migraines, and he used to be able to wear like a black visor because the lights would bother him. So, who knows? Speaking of migraines, Bill O'Brien has given the Houston Texans a huge headache going forward. They have no first-round pick this year, no second-round pick, no DeAndre Hopkins.
The highest cap in the league.
I did not know that.
Yep.
No DeAndre Hopkins. They're 0-4, and then apparently him and JJ Watt got into it on the field, where Watt was like calling out his coaching ability. Man. Which as soon as that happens, you're toast.
You're done. Yeah.
Like. The face of the franchise,
especially America's sweetheart, JJ Watt.
Yeah, and like the face of that franchise too,
Mr. Polite.
Yeah, you're just never like O'Brien was never going to win that. I wonder if Watt just like took that upon himself. He's like,
I'm getting this guy fired.
Yeah, we're moving on. Like
I don't think he's
that cerebral.
I can't picture him being vindictive like that, but it's possible. Like I don't know. But yeah, the Houston Texans are in trouble. I mean, as we've said before, their schedule hasn't been friendly to them.
No.
And I could see them still getting to like 6 or 7, maybe even 8-8, 6 or 7 wins, maybe even get to 8-8. Because their schedule, I think they've gone through the hard part of their schedule. They have a lot of division games left. They got 2 against the Jags. They got 2 against the Colts. that they could potentially win. They've got they might be able to split with the Titans. I don't know, depending on if the Titans even ever playing a game again this year.
The weird thing too is they're kind of at a crossroads where it's like, do you try and maybe see if you can trade something for a first round pick because you don't have one? Like they don't have one this year. The Dolphins have their pick, but like you can't tank because you don't have a pick to tank with.
And I don't want them to tank because I don't want the Dolphins to have 2 top 5 picks.
Fuck.
Like I really don't.
They add Jamar Chase
and they already have their quarterback, so they don't need to spend one of those on the quarterback.
So they could even move back and maybe get 3 first round picks.
Yeah, like that gives them so much play. Mm-hmm. It makes me sick to my stomach now that the Bills are actually good and then the other teams in our division are getting good.
I saw pretty good.
It's like, why can't we just have Patriots luck where you have 3 absolute bums in our division and we get 6 free wins every year? Why can't we have that?
The Dolphins defense too, man. They got talent there.
They're better than everybody said. Their corners, they have one of the best corner pairings in the league.
Howard and Jones,
yeah. Like people, that's why when people were like, they just played the Dolphins, I'm like, he threw all over those corners.
That was a weird game too because they had
the one injury. Byron Jones got injured.
Yeah, but they had the delay in the middle of the game too. Which
stop playing with that. I can hear it in my headphones. No, it's okay. I interrupted you. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's not.
It's for the audience's sake. They're hearing the fumbling.
Bit of delay with the lightning in that game, which kind of that's kind of
messed up
an odd thing.
But it can mess up a rhythm of an offense or a defense. It can go both ways. But
that's true.
Like I don't know. I just like. The Dolphins are better than people think, and they're very well coached. Mm-hmm. Very well coached. And Brian Flores seems to have them all bought in.
They're gonna have 2 high first round picks this year. I saw a pretty good.
And you've already got your corners.
Yeah.
They're gonna pick a nasty wide receiver.
They could take
a sick pass rusher,
or the tackle,
Penei Sewell.
There's like 3 now that are projected to go top 10. Yeah. There's Alex Leatherwood and
Alex Leatherwood. The
guy from Texas. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, I forget. Alex Leatherwood was if he came out last year, he would have been a top 15 pick. So,
I lost my train of thought there. What were we?
Okay, we were talking about the Houston Texans.
Houston Texans
and the Dolphins.
Oh, I saw a pretty good. I don't know if it was Twitter. I heard this on the radio, but somebody said, Bill O'Brien made that trade for Laramie Tunsil, and then he put his gas mask on and just started making trades. Just started running the franchise.
Him and Tunsil were hanging out, smoking some weed. Yeah, man, that was one of the craziest drafts I've ever watched. I love any draft. Anybody that knows me knows that, and that was like one of my favorite drafts. Just like and the Bills didn't even have a good pick. We picked fucking Shaq Lawson that year.
Oh
yeah.
Those drafts are always like crazy to look back on when you just blew the draft right away. Like the Bengals have had some of those recently where they took like Darqueze Dennard.
We didn't really blow it because we got one good year of production out of him. But then we didn't end up signing them.
Yeah, and it's just
like and we got we had 3 years of like absolute duds.
And the thing with the NFL is there's always superstars picked behind.
Oh yeah.
Like there's always superstars. There's superstars all over the draft. So if you blow a pick, there's always a guy really close.
The draft in the NFL is like by far the most important of any draft.
Yep.
Maybe the NBA in the top 10 because like it's such a star-driven league. But the NFL, there's so many positions you have to fill, and there's so many options. And your top 3 rounds should start
by the end of the year. I would say they should be like at least like in the conversation for starting.
Mm-hmm. So,
that's it.
That's it. Those are 10 questions. We can queue up a little bit into the week 5, and then we get to our hypothetical. Week 5, we covered a lot. We covered a lot of it in our picks.
Mike is there for that.
Yeah, so go check out that video. It's going to be on this page, on Name on the Front, on YouTube. You'll be able to find it because if you're watching this video, you found it. So check that out. We talk a lot about next week. We got into because we wanted to get Mike's opinions on these games. He's got to work early today, so he's already out of here. But he will be back next week. Let's get into our hypothetical. This week, we have a hypothetical that's kind of a little bit based on because I know you had a different reason for wanting this hypothetical. I have a reason.
Okay.
PFF recently, there's a guy named PFF Sam Monsoon.
Yeah, I saw that.
He was one of the staunchest
You ever heard
advocates
him talk?
of the anti Josh Allen train. He was all aboard the anti Josh Allen train. And recently, he just signed the waiver for Josh Allen apologists, saying that he was wrong about Josh Allen and that he was too hard on Josh Allen. So our hypothetical this week is, who is a player or coach or anyone involved in sports that you might have been too hard on at the time? And I will go first, and I will say it was Phil Kessel on the Leafs. When I look back at those Leafs teams, there's a lot of bad memories, but there's one consistent who played 82 games a year, and he was pretty much the only source of fun on that team. And when he left, I missed him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Phil Kessel. So Phil Kessel's my answer. I know it's kind of a pedestrian answer. It's not like too hardcore, because all Leafs fans, I think, feel this way, because we had to point the finger at someone, and we couldn't always point it at Dion. So I think Kessel got a lot of unfair flack. And it's hard to build it. And anybody that knows anything knows that you shouldn't build a team around a winger. So I think it was really on the front office at that point. So there's a lot of reasons why, but I'm going to say Phil Kessel. And if you don't say Josh Allen, I'm going to punch you in the square in the face. So
Josh Allen is definitely one that I think I was too hard on. I will say I'm not
sold.
Like that, yeah, that take is on life support for sure, my Josh Allen take.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's out of the realm of the possibility that this is the best Josh Allen ever plays. Maybe he's 75% of this, which would still be really good. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. He also could just keep getting better, which is scary to think about.
Which is what he has been doing, though.
Which is scary to think about that.
So if you look at progression, if you're a stats guy and you look at progression,
but
he will plateau, but somebody that consistently improves is more likely to just reach a point and stay there than to drop off, because there's a lot of variables behind progression. A lot of it is work ethic, a lot of it is attitude, a lot of it is willingness to improve the things that you need to improve, coachability, a lot of intangibles that are hard to put a stat behind that I think he has. But anyways, get to your real number, get your real guy.
So my guy is going to be, and he's kind of known for other things now, but he was before Masai Ujiri, he was the GM of the Raptors. I'm going to go with Brian Colangelo.
Really?
He was a guy who I think got a lot. He still gets a lot of flack when people look back at what he did with the Raptors, but
and then his burner account.
Yeah,
that's his wife.
Nobody cares about what he did with the Raptors anymore because of that. But a few of the things that he did, if you look back at his tenure, he drafted DeMar DeRozan with the 9th overall pick.
Yeah.
And then a few years after that, he gave him a 4-year, $38 million contract extension, which at the time was people were like, holy shit, what are you doing, man? Like, why are you giving DeMar DeRozan this much money?
Yeah.
And then by the end of that was one of the best contracts in the NBA. Mm-hmm. Obviously, they flipped DeMar DeRozan for Kawhi Leonard after that. So that's kind of the foundation of the championship team.
Yep.
He also made the trade for Kyle Lowry.
Yep.
Trading, I believe it was just a first-round pick straight up for Kyle Lowry.
Fair.
So that's another part of the championship team. And when he was getting a lot of heat towards the end of his tenure, and then coming up to that draft, he took Jonas Valanciunas 5th overall, knowing this guy wasn't going to play this year. So you think a lot of times GMs, if they know they're on life support, they want to pick a guy who's going to help them out right away. But he kind of did the selfless thing and took the guy who he felt was the best player available and took Jonas Valanciunas, knowing he was going to stay in Europe for a year. And then the Raptors obviously flip him for Marc Gasol, who was another huge piece of the championship team. So Colangelo didn't necessarily build the championship team, but he used a lot of things that helped. He was like he built the step before the championship team that the Raptors had. Mm-hmm. So, and I think he gets looked back on kind of harsh, but a lot of the stuff that he did was actually worked out really well, especially drafting DeMar DeRozan and trading for Kyle Lowry, 2 cornerstones of the Raptors franchise. So,
fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. You sold me. I agree now.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of
and he did do some bad things too, like the Rudy Gay trade, or trading for Rudy Gay the first time, and then knowing he had that contract, and then he traded, there was the TJ Ford trade. There was a few things that he didn't do that were very good, but I think the good outweighs the bad for him there.
Yeah. So we've talked it through. Hopefully we get Mike back next week. That was a lot of fun. Just me and you. We got the shortened table. Feels a little more intimate.
Yep.
I think we had a really good conversation today. I'm going to end it off with come listen to Name on the Front for our sports take, which your day, they will brighten. Fuck you if you're a Tennessee Titan. I was working so hard to rhyme with Titan.